A very good evening to you, our esteemed viewers. We are delighted that you are watching Church of Uganda Family TV. And the show you're watching right now is Health Port. Health Port is a program brought to you by Makaaya University School of Public Health. We basically look at maternal health, early childhood development, and other public health concerns. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. This is yet another special episode. Like the Bible says that my children perish due to lack of knowledge. Yes, we don't want you, our parents, to die silently, yet the answer is here with us. We all know that 25th February every year is the International Cochlear Implant Day. Yes, it is aimed at creating awareness about the cochlear implant across the country. And very many parents, very many families might be dying silently, not knowing that the answer is already here. What is the cochlear implant? How does it work? What does it do in our bodies? Those are some of the answers we are going to get from this episode. So today we move out to Hear His Voice Uganda, an organization that deals with hearing loss. And with us is the director, parent support, and she's a co-founder of this organization, Mrs. Makaaya Edith, taking us through what we are going to talk about today. And Mebo Murungi, our sign language interpreter, already with us. Mrs. Makaaya, we are delighted to have you today on HealthPort, and kindly greet our viewers, and then we shall go ahead.
Thank you, Eddie. Good evening, our viewers. I'm delighted to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we want to start with Hear His Voice. What do you mean by Hear His Voice? How does Hear His Voice come up? What do you do at Hear His Voice?
Thank you, Eddie. So Hear His Voice, we got this vision after being blessed with a child who was deaf.
Oh.
And because we were very privileged to have her implanted with a cochlear implant, she was able to hear. She's now 15 years old and she'll be 16 in May. And so because we were so blessed to have her get access to sound, we really felt a voice tell us, go and help other parents in Uganda. So we are privileged that we were able to start Hear His Voice Uganda. From that voice that we had, send us here to help other parents out there who are dying, who are frustrated with kids that are deaf. So we are here to give you hope that yes, it doesn't matter if your child is deaf, there's hope in the use of a cochlear implant and hearing aids.
So how long has Hear His Voice been?
Good evening, our viewers, once again. So Hear His Voice started in 2016. We reached out to parents that were really looking out for us because they had had a story. So we started with a parents group. We would meet at All Saints Church, and then it grew up, and then we felt the need to actually start Hear His Voice Center. So from 2016, we were just meeting casually in the evenings to come support each other, come cry together, come laugh together, come celebrate the little milestones that our children were making. But through sharing our story, many parents were really encouraged, and right now we have so many children that have used cochlear implants.
Oh, well, you said it was after having a daughter who wasn't able to hear. And was this daughter implanted from Uganda or?
No, our daughter was implanted in the US because at that time, we really didn't have those services here.
Well, I ask so because a parent would ask.
Yes.
There's a parent out there. They would ask, how comes we didn't know about this? Like we are talking about a cochlear implant right now, and there is a parent who is there watching us and have never heard about it. So we are delighted that by the end of this program, you will have known what a cochlear implant is. So, what are some of the activities you do here? Is it all about telling parents to bring their children to get their children implanted, or you do some other activities besides sensitizing them about the existence of the cochlear implant?
Thank you. So from the time we started, one thing that we were so passionate about was to have these surgeries done here in Uganda, because we realized not every parent can afford to take their children to either the US or German or Australia or wherever these services are found. So we tried so much to lobby that parents can have access to these surgeries right here in Uganda. And I am glad to inform you parents out there that right now surgeries are done here in Uganda.
Wow.
And part of the team are Ugandan local ENT specialists, and we are so proud of that. And that's one of the biggest achievements we've had through this organization.
That's very good, actually.
Thank you.
So besides this, what else do you do with this?
So we have...
Because when we entered here, we found some children around, and they're happily in this place.
Thank you. So again, like you say, we rehabilitate children who receive cochlear implants, but also those who use hearing aids. So we rehabilitate them. We have speech and language pathologists here. We have teachers of the deaf who are trained specifically to deal with children with hearing loss. So that's one. But the other major thing we do here is we support fellow parents, because many parents get frustrated with these children and some of them want to give up. We had a parent who wanted to commit suicide. We have had parents separate because of this, so we come together to support one another. We give social support to our parents, psychological support, so they stay afloat and they don't give up on life.
Yeah. Wow, that is very good. And I believe a parent out there would be interested in knowing where Hear His Voice Uganda is located.
Yeah, so Hear His Voice Uganda is in Intinda. We are on Buye Road, just close to Hardware World. So when you're close to Hardware World, we can always direct you here.
Maybe before we leave that very point, now that you said you can always direct them, but how will you direct them? They don't have any contact.
Okay, so you can reach us on our numbers on 0704 5581 99 or 0772647124. Thank you.
Can a parent out there call when they want to consult?
Absolutely. Every time you feel like calling, feel free to call. We are always available to give you any service that we can offer you.
So we are with Edith from Hear His Voice Uganda, and we were talking about Hear His Voice, but we want now to get back to the special day, which today is, and this is the International Cochlear Implant Day. Yes, a parent there might be hearing about this implant for the very first time, because when we talk about implants, what runs to our minds is the other implant of family planning. But there is also a cochlear implant. And what Mrs. Mukaya is going to take us through is now what this called a cochlear implant is.
Yeah, so thank you once again. Fellow parents and fellow Ugandans out there, a cochlear implant is a surgically implanted device that is put in a cochlea. Okay, so it is done by a trained medical ENT specialist who really have capacity to do surgeries, and they are trained on that. So not every ENT specialist can do it, but there are doctors that are trained to do these implants. And we are so delighted to know that we have them in Uganda.
Wow.
We are so glad to know that this can be done here in Uganda. So it has two parts. One is inserted in the child's cochlea, and then there's an outer device, as we are going to look at this right shortly after this. Yes.
Yeah. So when you said there are two devices, when one is inserted in the cochlea and the other, how do they coordinate?
It has a magnet that connects to the inside part of the implant.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so we want to get back to this day, because this is a very special day, the International Cochlear Implant Day. And why would it be celebrated? Why would we even talk about this? Why would it be an International Cochlear Implant Day?
Oh my God, we really have all the reasons to celebrate this day. COVID has really taught us that we cannot take life for granted.
Yeah, sure.
We saw people really dying because there's no oxygen in the country, and it gets us back to this hearing. We get it for free, so some of us don't know how it feels for a deaf child to be in an environment where you're interacting with hearing people and then you're quiet. So for a child to be blessed with access to sound is worth celebrating. It is 1,000 reasons for us to celebrate this day, because it gives our children an opportunity to be able to hear. And when they hear, they are able to interact freely and easily with fellow kids in the community. They are able to interact with every other person in the community. So we have all the reasons to celebrate. Yes.
So when we look at Uganda, we've celebrated very many days, and very many days have gone, it has been publicized in the media that this is this day and this is this day. But why is it that this day is a silent day?
Yes, I would assure you, Eddie, that hearing is a silent disability. And this is the reason, because it's not physical, that you look at me and then know that I'm deaf, which is very different from, say, a lame person or a blind person. You look at them and say, oh, this person is blind, this person is actually lame. But for a child who is deaf, you will look at them and assume they're actually okay. And you can even start talking to them, yet they have a silent disability. So for us, we call it a silent disability simply because it's not visible. You won't look at me and then assume I'm deaf, or you won't look at my daughter and then conclude right away that they are deaf. You only have to reach out to them, talk to them, and then get to know that, oh, sorry, this child is actually deaf. So I would want to believe that that's the reason this day is not really known out there. It's not so popular, but also because this is a new season for us. We are glad that these services are right here in Uganda, so we are slowly starting to appreciate that there's this day. So we are not ashamed to say, for us, we started. We celebrate it every other year, and we are so proud of that.
Because when you say this is a silent disability, I also remember that next week we shall be celebrating the World Hearing Day.
Yes, please.
And surprisingly, it is not written anywhere on any of our calendars. Yes. And this is really a this service. And I think this is now correct, the Ministry of Health and the stakeholders to be mindful of some of these, because this is a silent disability, but it is giving a lot of stress to very many parents, and they're dying silently.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And I mean, the challenge is when you hear our children being referred to as Kasiru, it really hurts. It's very heartbreaking. But we are coming out. We are creating awareness out there. People, please don't call our children Kasiru. They are not stupid. Chigala. They need to be rehabilitated. So we are here to tell you, please come join us. Let's celebrate this year. Come celebrate this day, the International Cochlear Implant Day. And the reason is simple. It is so beautiful to see a child that was once deaf, and they're able to speak and interact freely. They're able to join, like I'll tell you, Edwin, that when we rehabilitate our children, our major goal is to help them gain their full potential out there. We want them to be able to go interact with the rest of the world, because they have the capacity, they have the skills, and they have good brains. They are very brilliant children, and they can compete out there. But they just need to be rehabilitated. And the cochlear implant is magical.
Wow. Let's shortly go for a commercial break. We shall be right back.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
The starting point of your surgery, when they say attention and you hold your legs, you have made yourself a soldier.
Then I said, now I know you want me to get saved, so I am going to get saved, but give me time. Can you imagine telling God, where if you ask him for something, can you imagine him telling you, give me time?
I praise God that I was condemned, Because if I wasn't condemned by man, then consequently I would have been condemned by God. But it's because of that human condemnation that led me to my salvation.
Brethren, yes we can. We can clear the debt of church house. And I want to invite you to give generously to the love gift. May God bless you as you give.
Welcome back from the commercial break. This is Health Court. This program is brought to you by Makaaya University School of Public Health, together with Church of Uganda Family TV. And we're basically looking at maternal health, early childhood development, and the various public health concerns. Today, we are looking at a very big challenge, which is killing us silently, and this is the hearing loss. And like before the break, Edith was telling us that this is a silent disability, and you cannot just look at someone and tell that they can't do this or they can't hear what you're telling them. So we are looking at the International Cochlear Implant Day, and she's taking us through this day. She's taking us through why this day should be celebrated, why this day and what this day means to the parents out there who have had children that have this disability. So Edith, back to you. And we know that each celebration, there is a specific thing that is taken on, and there is a reason as why they take on this thing. So what is this thing this year? Which theme are we taking on as we take the celebration? Which direction are we taking for this cochlear implant day?
Probably before we talk about the theme, Edrine, I would be glad that we interact with the children and look at the beauty that there is in this cochlear implant. Then we can talk about it.
Well, okay, fine. We are going to interact with the children, and a parent out there will be able to see this child without an implant and this child after the implant has been inserted. And you'll now tell, should you still sit with your deaf child at home and cry and weep when the solution is already right here with us in Uganda? Or you stand up, keep up the courage, and help this child. So we are shortly looking at that, and then we shall be back with Edith taking us through the objectives, the theme of this day.
I'm Jacinta Namuga, a speech and language therapist at Hear His Voice Uganda. I'm also a parent and infant program officer. So this board is about Ling sounds. Ling sounds are sounds that were invented by Dr. Daniel Ling. We use them when testing the technology of our children. And these sounds are 6 of them, and they go across different frequencies from the low, the mid, and the high frequency. So we use them to check if this child is listening in various frequencies across a speech spectrum. So when you look at these pictures, they are representing these sounds. The sounds are A, U, M, I, S, Sh. So when we start with the M, the giraffe is feeding on the leaf, so it's representing something yummy, food. But if you look down here, there is a gorilla holding ice cream. It's also yummy to represent the And also the monkey is having a banana. It's also yummy. So it's all representing the sound So is represented by the aeroplane flying in the sky, like the sound And another sound is represented by the snake that is on the tree, like you hear the sound of the snake hissing. Then we have the sh. The sh sound is represented by the lion that is sleeping. So never to wake up the lion, you have to be quiet, which is shh. And then we have the oo sound, which is represented by the monkey. The monkey usually makes the ooh sound, and then the train, which is choo 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 choo. So all these sounds are represented on this board, but it also helps our children to reflect on them whenever they are in here. However, it also helps the parents to go back and work with their children on these sounds, because whenever they wear their gadgets, we expect their processors to be tested to know, is this child listening or no? Because if one of the sounds is missing, then the child will not be understanding the speech that they are picking. That's the reason we have the board here.
With us here is Hannah. She's having her cochlear implant, as you can see it, and we are going to ask her and see whether she can clearly listen to what I'm asking and respond, or she can't. And now a parent out there, you'll be able to tell whether these things work or not. Hi Hannah.
Yes.
How are you?
I am fine.
How old are you?
I am 50 years old.
How much time have you been with this implant?
4.
4 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And how do you feel?
Yes, good.
Good.
Yes.
Well, Hannah was responding to our questions. Now, we are going to call one of the therapists to come remove the implant, and we shall see whether Hannah can still hear what we ask her.
Hannah?
Yes.
Give me your processor. Thank you.
So, it has been taken off. Hi, Hannah.
Fine.
Can you hear me?
No.
Did you hear what I said?
Another.
Clap your hands. So, you realize Hannah cannot listen to anything without the cochlear implant. Now, that is how beautiful this implant is, and that is why a child needs it. It helps them.
So this is our processor. Inside her, they did a surgery, and she has an implant. So this is just an outside gadget that is going to pick sounds from the environment, speech and any environmental sound, so that it processes it and takes it to the brain. So this processor has different parts. It's like a phone. Let me compare it with a phone because it's also a gadget. It has a battery to keep it running, which also needs charging. It has what we call a coil cable. So they go apart. This is a coil cable, and this is the coil that connects with the implant inside to transfer the electronic signal to the brain. So this is the processor where the sound she picks in the environment goes to, because it also has microphones here that pick sounds, and it takes it to through the coil cable to the coil, and then to the implant that is surgically put in her head or ear actually. All right, so basically this is a hook just to help it sit comfortably on her ear, and this coil has a magnet. That's why it's not able to fall off. It has a magnet that you can take out in case you need to change the strength of the magnet, so it doesn't fall off, because the inside implant in the head has a magnet too that settles and connects with this one outside. So when the processor receives sound, remember the battery is on and it's working. So if the battery is off, that means the child will still not hear because the battery is down. So the battery has to be on, fully charged, and when the battery is on and the coil cable is connected very well, just like this, and also connected very well to the coil, then you have something like this, and then the child will put it back on her ear, then to the head. That means the information the processor is going to get through the microphones is going to be transferred through the coil cable to the coil, which coil is sitting on the implant inside, then transferred to the ear, then to the brain. Alright, so now we are going to give it back to Hannah, and she's going to put it back on, then we see if she'll hear us.
So the processor has been put back, and so let us see whether Hannah can this time hear what we tell us. We are going to request the therapist to instruct her on what to do.
Hannah?
Yes.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, now we are going to clap our hands. Clap your hands.
Clap your hands.
Yes, very good. Can you jump? Very good.
So Hannah can hear us. This is how beautiful this implant is, and that is why this day is a very special day to all of us as Ugandans, to all of us as parents who have had children with such disabilities.
I'm Joyce Semakura, the mother to Mami Arafat. It was not a good journey to reach at this stage. I felt bad when I heard that my son is not hearing. But when I came here at HIV, I was very glad that I had this good news.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long has Arafat had this implant?
Just 1 month.
1 month.
Yeah.
And you see any change?
Yes.
So what are your expectations in him now that he has this implant?
I know Arafat is going to hear very well, and in time, he will talk very well.
Hello everyone, I'm Teacher Grace. I'm teaching Victory class. These are the kids that have been here and they can now talk, they have words, and we expect them to move to the mainstream soon. Right now I have Shema. Hi Shema.
Teacher.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, Shema. What's your name? What's your name? Shema Atayre. Okay, before I found it hard, but with trainings, getting used to them, I see they can now make it. Because some parents come with fear. Will my child talk? Will he reach a time and talk, say hello to me? Will she be able to communicate? But now I see, because we have children who have moved to the mainstream, they're just talking like any other child. Yeah.
Well, I welcome you back from that session, and our parent out there, please don't cry, don't weep. You're not alone, and there is a solution. I'm going to request Edith to share with us the number of Hear His Voice again, just in case you're stranded, just in case you need any advice. You can always get back to them. She said, or she told us earlier, that they are here. Feel free to talk to them, feel free to share with them anytime. Edith, now that we've seen the good work that you people are doing of rehabilitating these children, and so please share with our mothers the number again. I know you shared it earlier, but share it again.
Thank you so much, Eddie. So yes, our parents out there, fathers, please come aboard. We welcome you on this journey. It's a beautiful journey, and we've really seen when parents are aboard, the journey is much, much easier. Please don't leave this to only our moms. Moms are doing quite a great job. There are so many other kids to take care of, but fathers, please come on board. It will be easier and sweeter when we see once deaf children flourish, talk, and interact with other kids and community members. So our numbers again are 704-5581-99 or 0772-647124.
Well, Edith, as we wind up today's episode, we know, like we promised our viewers before going to that previous session, that we shall come back and talk about a thing where we may not be interested in the international thing, because every country has a reason as why they should celebrate, depending on how big the problem is in their country. And let us look at Uganda here. And now that we've gotten this opportunity to interact with you as Hear His Voice, what are you looking up to unto this day? What are you celebrating?
Thank you, Edwin. One, we are celebrating the gift of sound as far as our deaf children are concerned, but also the opportunity to create awareness that there's hope for a deaf child. They can be able to hear and they can be able to interact and then blossom like any other normal child. So we are here to celebrate the gift of speech through the use of cochlear implants. And our theme locally here, Edwin, you will really know that a cochlear implant is not something that is so common and popular here in Uganda and on the African continent. But we are glad that we have decided to take baby steps to celebrate. So we celebrate locally and really small scale here at Hear His Voice, and we are basically looking at advocacy. We want to create awareness, and we want to delve into research, because we realize that there's not much data as far as hearing loss is concerned here in Uganda. Thank you, Edith.
Well, thank you so much, Edith. We are delighted that you shared with us this particular moment, and I believe you've been an answer to a parent out there who was stranded, who was struggling, and please feel free to share the problem. A problem shared is half solved. So you're not alone, and you don't die alone. There is someone willing to advise you, willing to show you a light. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. We've been with Mrs. Makaaya Edith from Hear His Voice, and Nebo Mulungi, our sign language interpreter. Remember, this is Health Pod brought to you by Makaaya University School of Public Health. I've worked with Jonah Jal, the producer, and Bantam in transmission. Stay blessed until we meet again next time.